I guess turning my audio on would probably help, wouldn't it? You guys got me. I appreciate that. Can you hear me? Can you see me? Let me know that you're there. Let me know that you can see me, and let me know that you can hear me. We have all this tech set up, and yeah, we try and make it work. So now you can hear me. Jennifer, thank you so much. Billy's in the house. What is happening? Thank you guys for hanging out. Thanks for joining. For all the folks who are watching the replay, appreciate you taking time to watch here. Jen, hey, how's it going? Thanks for joining. I see Drew typing. Appreciate you guys taking time here and hanging out. We're going to have a lot of fun today. This is going to be one of our advanced watering hole webinars. We're going to talk all about Sprout Assistant today. So I'm excited to share that with you. I'm excited to get into the weeds. I was planning this out yesterday, and it reminds me every time I get in and start digging into Sprout Assistant as a tool, as a resource for you to use in your business. I'm like, man, this is so good. It's so good. I'm so excited for you guys to dig in and learn more about it. If you're not familiar with it, use it better if you're already using it, or just teach it to you for the first time if it's new for you. So I'm excited to dive in, and I'm excited to share it with you. So let me hop on over here, share my screen, give you a quick rundown of what the plan is. So today, my goal is to give you, let me take my face out of there so you can see. We're going to have 45 minutes of a demo here. We're going to have 15 minutes of Q&A at the end. If you have questions throughout, there's a questions tab. We're going to run through that in just a minute. But basically, feel free to ask questions throughout. Justin is here. He's going to answer the questions as we go if he can. Otherwise, he may leave some for me to answer at the end. There will be a replay available as well. So we'll move quick. We're going to run fast. We're going to have fun. But you will have a replay that you'll get emailed automatically if you want to rewatch it back afterwards and maybe put it on half speed because Brian talks too quick and drank too much coffee today. So that's the plan today. Really quickly, if you're not familiar with our webinar platform here in Livestorm, there is a chat menu. You can chat throughout. Obviously, there's a questions menu. Please do ask any of our questions there in the questions menu. That way, Justin can categorize them, leave them for me, or answer them himself. There is a polls menu up there. I'm not sure if we're going to use polls throughout this one, but if Drew happens to get creative and wants to get, have fun there, then he'll maybe put a poll up or two. And there's also the people menu up there as well. So that's kind of a quick introduction to the interface here in Livestorm. Pretty straightforward. Quick introduction to myself. For those of you who maybe aren't familiar, my name is Brian Caparici. I'm the CEO and founder here at Sprout Studio. I'll put my face up there so you can see me and the picture of me. There's just too many Brians happening right now. I'm the CEO and founder here at Sprout Studio. I live here in Niagara, Ontario, Canada. I've been a wedding and portrait photographer here for 15 years, full-time as a professional. And I've been teaching photographers just like you about how to run a business for 12 years. I've written books, I've keynoted, I've given workshops, and all of that has culminated to where we are today at Sprout Studio, where I have the great privilege and honor and ability to teach you, to inspire, to help you run a better business, but also lead and forge and pioneer Sprout Studio, the software, and build better tools for you guys to help you run a better business. Really quickly on the personal side, I've been married to my wife for 11 years. We've been together for 16, 17. I hope she's not listening. Maybe 17 and a half, somewhere around there. We have 3 beautiful kids. I'll take my face off because they're much more beautiful than I am. 3 beautiful kids. Ava, our daughter, who's 8. Ben, our son, who's 5. And Andrew, our other son, our youngest, who's 3. So that is who I am, who we are at Sprout. And why do we exist? We are here. We exist to help you make a living doing what you love. Take a moment for a second here and just breathe that in with me. Read that in for a second, because this is so foundational to us, to who we are, to why we exist, to why we do everything that we do for you, is because we want to help photographers make a living doing what they love. Look, I've been there. I've been in the weeds. I know what it's like. I've been a photographer for 15 years, and I know the challenges of running a photography business. I know sort of the stress of it. I know the nuance of it. I know what it's like to be in the weeds there with a client. But at the same time, I've seen, by my own definition of success, I've seen success as a photographer. You know, my wife and I, we paid off our mortgage. She's been a stay-at-home mom with our kids for 8 years. We owned our vehicles. We vacationed when we wanted. We bought the things that we wanted. For all intents and purposes, I was able to achieve our own definition of success as a photographer. And yet I see so many photographers that just struggle to do that. So many photographers who are so amazing at the creative side of what they do and are never able to get traction in their business. And it's not because they're not good photographers. It's because they don't focus on the business side. And so everything that we do, both in the education side of what we do, but also here in Sprout Studio with our software, is to help you make a living doing what you love. Because I've been there, I know the joys of being an entrepreneur, and we want to help enable that and unlock that for you. So that is the plan. And I know that even as I do this motion right here, Justin has his finger hovering over the screenshot button because I'm doing the most Italian motion that I can here with my hand. So I'm not going to give him any more any more fuel than he needs. Quick introduction to the team. Take myself off here again so you can see. Thanks, Justin. We have Drew here on the sales and marketing team. He's going to help run the webinar, going to ask the questions, going to be a bit of a cheerleader here. Braden's also here on the team. I don't have his picture up here yet. So Braden, just say hello. Drew, obviously say hello because you've already said hello here. But Braden, say hello as well. We did Braden's headshots yesterday, so I don't have a picture of him done yet that I can put up here. But it's coming. Next week for the webinar, Braden will be featured here on the intro slide deck. We also have Justin, who you've seen over there in the chat. Justin's going to help answer questions and guide this webinar. There comes the Hulk Hogan webinar, or the Hulk Hogan, the GIF. I love it. Justin never disappoints. Let's get into it. Let's get into the meat and potatoes. Let's talk a little bit about what is Sprout Assistant. Sprout Assistant, in a nutshell, is like having a full-time employee in your business whose sole job is to make sure that your clients are well taken care of. So the idea is that with Sprout Assistant, you can automate reminders, you can automate follow-ups, and you can automate confirmations with your clients. Ultimately, we have these 5 goals for you with Sprout Assistant, and this is why we built Sprout Assistant. Number 1, we want to help you be more productive as a photographer. Number 2, we want to help you get more done faster. Number 3, we want to help you set proper expectations. Number 4, you cannot let anything fall through the cracks because Sprout Assistant is there to pick up the pieces for you. And number 5, ultimately, this all leads to you making more money with Sprout Assistant by your side. So that is what Sprout Assistant is, and that's what we're going to show you today. That's what I'm going to walk through today. I'm going to get into the nuts and bolts of all these things with you so that you know exactly what Sprout Assistant is, how you can use it, how you can grow your business with it, how you can get more organized, save more time, and ultimately, again, make more money as a photographer. That's the goal today. Give me a thumbs up if you're on board and if you're excited and if you're ready for that. Pop in the chat. And as we go through here, if there's anything that you're seeing that you're like, whoa, I didn't know that. Whoa, that's super cool. Anything that surprises you, feel free to pop into the chat. Let us know. I literally have the chat up here that I'm reading as I'm talking to you. So I'd love to hear the sort of rah-rah and see the rah-rah and see that you guys are excited and engaging and understanding what we're talking about here. But that is the goal. That is, we're Justin with the rah-rah. Thank you, Justin. But that is basically what we're talking about today. So let me hop into Sprout and let's do this. Okay, so what I'm going to do is the first part that I'm going to do is I'm going to walk into Sprout Assistant just to kind of show you and familiarize you with where you can find all of this greatness. So I'm going to go up here into settings, and then on the left-hand side, I'm going to open up the assistant section. Now, I'm just going to kind of collapse that down just to kind of simplify the UI here. So this is the Sprout Assistant section. You all have access to this. This is where you go to turn on your template Sprout Assistant emails. Now I'm going to talk a little bit about in a moment the difference between the templates and then when you actually use them on a thing. But for now, this is the sort of starting point. So you have these different categories of emails that Sprout Assistant can send on your behalf. You have invoices and orders, booking proposals, client details, dates, design proofs, galleries, questionnaires, and the one-page Sprout Assistant settings. Now, for each of them, you can click to open it, and you have several emails within that. These are all the different emails that Sprout Assistant can send for you. If I go into galleries, for example, these are all structured to say, hey, Sprout Assistant will send a reminder when the gallery was sent but not viewed. Sprout Assistant will send a receipt for an order from a gallery. Sprout Assistant will send a reminder when a gallery will expire for the client. So these are all the different emails that Sprout Assistant can send on your behalf. There's even things like for design proofs. Hey, Sprout Assistant can send a confirmation of changes requested to a design proof. Or what I think is really exciting and really fun is Sprout Assistant will send a reminder when a design proof is published but not viewed. So you can build these really beautiful follow-ups, these reminders, these touch points with your clients that only go out when they make sense to go out. So if you publish a questionnaire or send a booking proposal or make a design proof for a client, if they haven't seen it yet, Sprout Assistant will know, and Sprout Assistant can automatically follow up and kind of nudge your client along and say, hey, just a reminder, you've got these things to do. Hey, just a reminder, we made this thing for you. You haven't seen it yet. Or furthermore, they can say, hey, just a reminder, you viewed it, but you haven't submitted revisions yet. So like, are you happy? Do you have any questions? What are your concerns? So that's where I say, Sprout Assistant helps you get more done faster, yes, but also it helps make sure things don't fall through the cracks. So if you need that questionnaire filled out, if you need that booking proposal signed, if you need that design proof approved or revisions submitted, you can really have Sprout Assistant automate all that for you and do those follow-ups for you. So that's kind of like the sort of high level, the 50,000 foot view of what is Sprout Assistant, what does it do, how does it work? These are all the different sections, and you configure all of these right here in settings. And then we'll talk about later how you actually use them, how you apply them to a specific design proof, to a specific booking proposal, to a specific gallery, and how all that works within the template section here. Because you can use the template or you can override the template. So we're going to talk through that in just a moment. Let's take a look at something like this. So a reminder when a design proof is published but not viewed. So I'm going to click edit on this right here to take a look and see what we want to do. There's a few sort of different elements of this, sort of the anatomy of a Sprout Assistant email. The first thing that I'm going to walk through is the hero image. So this kind of gives you a bit of a preview of what it's going to look like here. So this section right on up here is what we call the hero image. So this is where you can click edit and you can say, hey, what do you want to use for this hero image? Do you want to use the brand email header, which you set in your brand? So you can just have it so that for your wedding brand, it's got a beautiful wedding portfolio image. For your portrait brand, it's got a beautiful portrait portfolio image. You can just create these graphics, these illustrations, these portfolio images that are sort of like the highlight, the cover photo for that brand. And then you can have these Sprout Assistant emails automatically use that. That's what I have set up for this one. Or for some of them, now specifically, for the design proof or for the gallery, you can say, hey, I actually want to use the cover image for the design proof, or I want to use the cover image for the gallery. If I close this down here and go into the gallery one, same kind of thing here. So reminder when the gallery was viewed but not sent. If I click this here, I can say, okay, I want to actually use the gallery featured image. So this is just showing me a quick preview. Hey, this is one of your galleries. This is the featured image that it would show, just as an example. This is only meant for an illustration. It will use the actual cover for the specific gallery that it's going out for. So it's not necessarily going to be this image. We have this little random button here that lets you cycle between a few of your galleries if you want to just quickly preview what it might look like. But again, this isn't the actual one that's going to go out. It's going to be contextual based on the specific gallery that you're sending out. So again, you could click here and you could say, hey, I want these to use the featured image, or I just want these to use the brand email header here. So that's up to you. You can choose however you want that to look. So that's the first part of the anatomy of the Sprout Assistant email. The next part here is the subject line. So obviously this is just the basic email subject line that your client would see in their email inbox. You can use the variables. So we have all these variables available down here, and you can use those in here, and they will be replaced when that email goes out to your clients. The next part of the anatomy is the title. So that's just right here. You click in and you can type in your gallery. Your gallery is expiring. Do that, right? And then the next part is the content. So again, in here, you can just type in the content. If you want to make things bold or change any of the styling, you can click in there and do it. Again, you can use the variables in here so that you can have this customized for the specific client. I don't know why it says edited again. We're going to go like that. And the next part is the button. Now, the button's not editable. This will always link to the specific call to action, the specific item that is relevant for this particular Sprout Assistant email. So it might be view my gallery or pay my invoice or answer the questionnaire, like whatever the call to action is for that Sprout Assistant email, that's what will be shown down there. And it'll always show up in your brand color. So that way it's always on brand for you. Speaking of colors, the next part is going to be up here in the theme section. You can choose light or dark, and that will change obviously the background and then the text and everything here to converse it, and then you could choose your sans serif or your serif font just to have two different styling options depending on your own preferences. And so those are sort of like the basics from a visual and from a presentation standpoint to your client. That's what a Sprout Assistant email looks like and how it works. Now, something else that you can do now is you can customize, well, when does this email go out? I don't want it just to go out 4 days and 10 days after. These are just two defaults that we have set up here. This is completely customizable for you. You can have these emails go out whenever you want them to, as often as you'd like, and you can fully customize this both globally here in your template, but also for each individual thing that you're going to send this for. So what you can do is, number one, you can click on this and just edit the ones that we already have in here. So maybe you want this to be 2 days instead. Click update and it works. Maybe you want this to be 3 weeks instead. You can go ahead and it'll just update that. Now, if you want to add other recurrences of that, you click the little plus and say, hey, I want to send this 1 hour after a gallery is sent but not viewed. And if you click that and you're like, actually, that feels a little aggressive, 1 hour maybe after they've sent it, maybe they've been working or actually doing something else and they haven't had a chance to view it. So let's delete that. Maybe let's go in here instead, say, I want it to be 6 hours after. So again, that's just where you can come in here and you can tweak this and you can nuance this as much as you'd like, all depending on your preferences on how you want to set up your own reminder system in your business for your clients. But it's fully customizable for you here in your business. So that is this part right here. Now, the last part that I want to go into is this little settings cog that we have sitting up here. And there's going to be 3 sections or 3 settings that you're going to see in there. So I'm going to go ahead and click that. So the 3 sections are this email template as a whole. Is it live, meaning is this going to be sending out to folks, or is it paused? This is like an on-off button. You can switch this on or off, and it's kind of like the kill switch. If you've got these turned on for a whole bunch of galleries, you have these all firing out, these are all working, and you're like, I need to stop this thing from going out. You just be like, come in here and click pause, and this email will never go out to anyone. So that's kind of like a big giant kill switch to say, I want them on or I want them off. That's like a master power switch. So if I go here and click live, that's great. The next 2 sections here are enabled by default, meaning if I have this turned off, if I now make a gallery, this email will not be turned on for that gallery by default. I can turn it on for the gallery if I want to manually, but by default, it's not turned on. Don't mistake that though for live or paused. I could have this on like this, but you see as soon as I go paused, it turns off. So there is this difference between it being live or paused versus it being turned on by default. Let me just show you what I mean. If I go and turn that off by default, so this is the reminder after a gallery is sent but not viewed. So if I save this, if I now go to make a gallery, you'll see down over here, that email is turned off here. Now I can go in here and just turn it on, but by default, it's not turned on. So if I cancel that, now if I go back in here and I open that, and you can even see here it says off by default. If I click edit on here and then I click here and say enabled by default, I'll go update, click save template. If I now go to add a gallery and open it up here, you can see it's turned on by default. Now again, conversely, if I don't want it on for this one, I can just turn it off for this one. But what that setting does is it just says, hey, by default, do you want this added to new galleries or not added to new galleries? And then you can override it. Now, the next one here is like a bit of a configuration of that. Let's say that you had this enabled by default. It was turned off. So all these galleries you were making all this time, maybe even after this webinar, this wasn't turned on. You weren't using this. And all of a sudden now you're looking at this and you're like, why do I not have this on? I want this on for all of my galleries. Clicking this enable all button will basically go back in history and turn this on for all of your galleries. It'll turn it on for all of your invoices. It'll turn it on for everything in your system. So it's kind of like an undo switch, or you can kind of go back and historically turn it on for all these things. And conversely, you can now disable it for all of them. Maybe you're realizing now, hey, I had this email turned on. My clients are annoyed. I don't want to send this email anymore. If you maybe don't want to do it this way, but instead want to just say, hey, I want you to turn this off for all of my galleries, click the disable all button, and it'll go back historically and turn them off. So that's what these sections and these settings in here are for. Again, totally please feel free to let me know if that's not clear, if you have other questions. But that kind of gives you a bit of a run through there of what these particular sections here are for and what they're used for. Now, I'm just going to go in here and just show you a couple small nuances, because if I go into the orders and invoices one, if I open up this one, you're going to see one extra option in here, which is this automatic email header, basically meaning this is now going to be a visual graphical representation of when this invoice is due. So you can choose to have that turned on, or again, you can choose to have your brand turned on. So just kind of give you some insight there. It's a good idea just to kind of run through here, click on each one of these and just make sure you're happy with it. Of course, you can tweak wording, you can tweak text. We've set some defaults for you. We think they look pretty good. We think they sound pretty good, but of course, you're welcome to go in there and tweak them. So that's kind of a 50,000 foot perspective on how you set up these templates, how you make these templates one time here in the section setting of Sprout. Now let's go and do what I just did, which was the gallery one here. So we're going to call this Faith Millen's Wedding. Again, you can see here, there's this little Sprout Assistant tray, and it says, hey, Sprout Assistant, send 9 emails. Now, it's because I have them all turned on for my galleries. So I can click this, and you're going to see this for orders, for invoices, for booking proposals, for design proofs, for dates, all of these things. Anywhere that there is a Sprout Assistant option, you're going to see this little tray that says, hey, this is FYI, these are the assistant emails that are going to go off. So you can click this. Now in here, by default, we pull your template settings. So we pull all these emails that are going to go out. We pull the dates, the times, whether they're on by default or off by default. We pull all that by default. So you only really have to do this once in the settings section here, and you never have to touch it again if you don't want to. So that's the nice thing, is that it can be a set once, a set it and forget it thing, and this Sprout Assistant tool will just run in the background automatically for you, helping you keep organized. So that's one way to do it. Now, if you want to override it for one gallery, for one order, for one invoice, for one booking proposal, you can. So I can come in here and say, by default, I've got this one turned on. I don't want to follow up with this client, so I'm just going to turn that off. So now that just means that for this gallery, this Sprout Assistant email is turned off. Turn it off, turn it off, turn it off. So you can turn all these things off. They're still on globally for any other gallery, but for this one, it's turned off. Now, similarly, if I keep it on, I can change these reminders just for this gallery. So I can say, you know what, I only want to do just the one follow-up there. I don't want to send all those other ones. Or maybe conversely, you can say, no, I actually want to send a whole bunch more of these. I want to send 2 days, and I want to send 3 days, and I want to send a week. So you can really add these and tweak these, and this will only be the setting for this particular gallery. So you've now overridden your default just for this gallery. So again, we've given you that control to say, hey, if you want to set these things once and forget it, great, you can do it. But if you also want to have the control and the nuance of being able to tweak these each time, you can also do that. One final thing with that is you can also change the actual contents of this Sprout Assistant email for just this one gallery. So if I've now clicked here, I've clicked edit, I've come in here, and maybe I want to say something. Maybe, I don't like this fun approach. Maybe it's just like, or maybe I want to be more fun, right? Be like, scary. There we go. Right? For this one particular client, go buy prints now. Right there. So let's say that I want this just for this gallery. I can click save, and this is only going to be changed for this gallery. It has not touched my template setting. So again, you can set all of this up once in your templates, never have to worry about it again, and everything works for you. Or you can set it up once and then override it on specific items, and that way you have a bit more control over when and how and what it says for individual items as you apply Sprout Assistant. And if I click this open, you're going to see it's all been updated. Now, the other thing too that you have is there's this little drop down here that says maybe you've come in here, you've updated this, and you actually prefer this look, you prefer whatever you've done here, this change. You can click Save and Update Template. What that's going to do is now update the template itself, so any other galleries will now have that. So you have the ability, again, to stray it from the template, to have it differ from the template, or you can update the template and do it there as well. So it kind of gives you a lot of control in the most simple way that we possibly could have think of or thought of presenting it for you. So that is sort of where you set all this up. Now, one of the things I'm going to show you is I'm going to make this gallery, because it shows you all this upon creation. From there on out, if you open settings, you're going to see that exact same Spread Assistant tray with those exact same settings, with those exact same content and everything you set up there previously when you were adding. They're now editable right in here. So that kind of gives you a bit of a perspective on how that works and how you make it, on how you stray from your template, how you save back to your template, and kind of go from there. One of the things that I'll show you here, just to give you an example. So I've got this one turned on. Let's take a look at this one. So this is a reminder for someone adding something to a cart, but they haven't checked out yet. So if I click update, so this is Faith Millen's wedding. Actually, I'm just going to open a new tab here because it might be a bit simpler. If I go into here, if I click assistant, and then I go into galleries, if I take this last one here, and I want to do this toggle option, I'm going to go disable all. It's going to just ask me, are you sure you want to turn it off? I'm going to say yes. Go ahead. Okay, great. So now it's been disabled. If I go in here and click settings, you're going to see that's now been turned off because I turned it off for all galleries. I disabled all. Now, that doesn't mean that I can't go and turn it back on. That's all great. I can turn it back on and we're good to go. Now, that's how that differs from enable all and disable all and all that functionality. Let me show you the opposite example. If I click edit on this and I say, hey, you know what? I'm gonna hit the kill switch. I'm going to pause all of these. I'm going to turn these off for everything. So if I now do that, you can see here, it's set to paused. If I go back into here and open this up, you're going to see it's not even showing up anymore. So it's not showing up. It's not there because that email as a whole is turned off. So if I come back in here, open this, turn it on, click live. I'm going to click enable all. Let's throw it back on all of my emails. Click update, click save, hop on back here, close, and reopen. And here we are. There it is, back added. So that's how you can add it and stray it and move it and change it and toggle it on and off and kill switch and enable all, disable all. There's a lot of functionality in there, but I hope that that kind of maybe gives you a little bit more clarity on how all of these things work and how you can use Spread Assistant dynamically in your business. I could spend a lot of time here, obviously, walking through the nuances of each one of these emails, but I'd love just for you to take some time and explore these because a lot of these are very powerful. If I open these all up and just kind of show you, I close them for a reason because there's a lot of them in here. But if you kind of go on in here and take a look, here's all the different emails that Spread Assistant can send on your behalf. Everything from invoices to reminders to follow-ups to payments are past due to booking proposals. They've been sent but not viewed. They've been viewed but not signed. They're about to expire. Confirmation when it's signed. Client details. Reminders of upcoming dates. There's a whole bunch in here and it's very powerful. So I do encourage you to spend 10, 15, 30 minutes, hop on into Assistant here, take a look at them, make sure you're happy with them, tweak them if you'd like, make changes, make sure they're all turned on and your business will be just running on autopilot and your clients will be well taken care of. Now, the one thing that I will pop in here and show, if I go out of here, I'm going to go into one of my other galleries that's actually attached to a shoot. I'll open up this one right here. So this one here is attached to a shoot. And the reason that I want to do that is I want to show you this thing called Sprout Log. So if you go in here, wherever you have this Sprout Assistant tray, if you want to preview what emails are going to be going out to your clients, you can click this Sprout Log here, and it's going to show you, hey, based on your settings, you know, like when you want to be sending these things, and based on this gallery and, you know, when it expires and all that kind of thing, here's the emails that are going to go out, and here's what they're going to say. So you can kind of see all of these and understand exactly what's going out and when it's going out. So that kind of gives you perspective from a log perspective of what's going out and when it's going out. You can also view it. If I go back here, on the overview page, there's a Sprout Assistant log here to show you everything that's going on your account from a global perspective. This is a beast of a modal to open up, so I don't necessarily encourage you all the time to go in here because it's pulling a lot of information. And if you have a lot going on in your account and you're using all the 30 some odd Sprout Assistant emails, it's not really going to be useful and manageable, but it is there if you need to reference it and take a look at it. So keep that in mind. And so with that, folks, I think I'm going to probably transition over to questions. If you have questions, I'm happy to answer them. If you want me to dig into any other part of Sprout Assistant, I'm happy to dig into those. But otherwise, that shows you a lot of flexibility and a lot of what you can do with Sprout Assistant to help you move your business along, help you set those expectations with your clients, and help you really make sure that nothing falls through the cracks. I think maybe you can see now through this how you can set up this really beautiful automated tool to help take care of your clients. And you can see how things like reminders and follow-ups and check-ins and confirmations, like all of that kind of stuff, you would otherwise need a full-time studio manager just to stay on top of your clients that way, just to make sure that things don't fall through the cracks. That's what Sprout Assistant is there for. That's what we hope to help you do. So let me pop on over here into the questions and see if there are any. Yeah, let's take a look here. Okay, so Kelly's asking, can I create my own Sprout Assistant email or a new email from a template? Kelly, I maybe need you to clarify. These are basically the different categories of answers of emails that you can have in there. So you can't necessarily create new ones. These are all the ones that we can do for you. You can create new ones in the sense that you can say when they go out, kind of like what I showed there just a few moments ago. You can say here, I want to add other versions of this. I want to add more iterations of it. I want to keep making more and more or make less and less, and you can customize them all. But there's no other kinds of emails that you can send out other than the ones that are listed here. I hope that answers your question, Kelly. But if you can clarify for me if that doesn't answer your question, I'm happy to answer. Let's just take a look. You guys are maybe you guys just love it and it makes all sense and you're all good. So maybe you don't have any other questions. But if you do have questions, feel free. I'm happy to dive into it. I'm happy to answer questions and go into it. While I'm just kind of waiting and stalling here for maybe another 30 seconds, this view activity button is the exact same thing as that log button that we just saw on the dashboard. So this shows you all the things that are happening. And this quick setup here is going to give you a little introduction here. And then if you click continue, this lets you kind of bulk apply this to everything. And you can say, hey, I want to turn all these on. So if you haven't done this yet, this is a good place to start, to go in here and say, yeah, I want to turn all these on. Here's the emails that I want on. Maybe you can uncheck some of them if you don't want them all going out, or check them on. And you can say, hey, I want to apply this to existing and new items, or only new items. So it kind of is a good bulk way to apply these things at one time. Kelly said, that answered my question. Thank you. Amazing, Kelly. Good stuff. Thank you so much for clarifying. All right, let's go in here. Rodney, okay, how do you get into the quick setup? Yeah, so Rodney, good question. Thank you. So if you go in here into settings, into assistant, so when I'm on this page here, and I'm going to close all these because it's just overwhelming to look at. When you're in here on the assistant page, this quick setup button right here will open that up. This is just a quick little introduction video that you can watch if you'd like to, or because you're coming from this webinar, you probably don't need to. You can click continue, and then this is the quick setup modal right here for you, Rodney. And there we have it. So, hey, guys, I'd love to hear from you in the chat. Let me know what you thought of this. I mean, was this useful? Were you seeing things in Sprout Assistant that you maybe hadn't seen before? Is this all repetitive for you, that like it was just a good reminder? I'd love to hear from you in the chat. Just pop on over there and just let me know, how was this for you? Did you like it? Was it interesting? Are there other topics that you'd like us to go into in this fashion, where we kind of take it and dig in and dive in and go further with it? We'd love to hear from you guys on that one. Rodney, awesome. Thank you. Amazing. Good stuff, Rodney. Thank you so much for asking the question. I can see a few of you. Yeah, Kelly, very useful. Good stuff. Thank you. Amazing. Thank you so much for saying. Let's see here. Do we have polls? Polls. Yeah, Drew's got a couple polls on up there. So if you guys haven't already, hop on over to the polls tab answer the polls that Drew's prepped for you there, just so we can get some more insight and some more context around who you are, what you're doing, and how we can help you further in the future with webinars like this. Gord has given me the double thumbs up. Amazing, Jen. This is really eye-opening. Thank you. Good stuff. Thank you so much, guys. Wayne, hey Wayne, good question. Very helpful. Anything similar to workflow? So we actually did an exact same webinar, a watering hole webinar like this, specifically for workflows 2 weeks ago today. If you go to getsproutstudio.com/webinars, Drew can pop the link to that into the chat. Then you can go and watch that right now, Wayne. So you won't get the live version of it because obviously that was 2 weeks ago. I can't time travel, but you can rewatch the replay of that and engage with that there, so you can kind of learn more about workflows in a similar fashion here. So we basically do these, every single week. Every week, I hop on, we do the basics webinars. But this here, every other week, we're now doing as a more advanced webinar. So we did workflows. Sprout Assistant was today. Those are the two that a lot of folks had said that they want more guidance through, they want more help through. So that's why we chose those two. However, Drew did put a poll up to basically say, what other topics would you like us to dive into? So would love for you to answer that poll and let us know what other questions that you have, what other areas you'd like us to dig into. Billy, I always felt like Assistant was going to be a pain, but now that I understand it better, I'm going to start using it. Amazing, Billy. That would be so good. And I think that's one of the things is that so often we build these features up to be more complex, more scary, more complicated than they maybe need to be. And that's just because there's this unknown, right? We don't know how it works. We're not sure how it works. And so we end up resisting it for so long for that reason. So that's why we want to do these webinars, to kind of show you the nuance and the depth and the sort of simplicity of a lot of these tools. Look, from a programmatic standpoint, these tools are like infinitely complex. Like our developers are the team that builds Sprout Studio. I gotta say, they blow me away every single day. Like, I'm so honored and so proud to have such an incredible team here at Sprout Studio. Like, what they've built in all these tools. I'm just the ideas guy, right? Like, I get to come in and say, here's what we need to do. Here's what we should do. Here's what photographers want to be able to do. And then they figure out miraculously a way to make that happen. And that is just like so mind-blowing for me as a founder, as a photographer, to be able to see something go from an idea all the way through to fruition to now seeing something like Sprout Assistant, seeing how amazing and robust it can be. But what I love about it is that it's such a powerful tool. It's such a useful tool. And Sprout Assistant is just one of many, but it's so useful, and yet it's so simple in how you use it. Now, like, once you understand it, right, Billy? Once you kind of get in there and learn the nuance of that, it's not that bad. So I do encourage you to kind of hop in there, take advantage of it, use these tools that we've built for you. Reginald is saying, very interesting. Just keep intimidating the process of using the studio. Amazing. Gord, these are awesome. Keep them up. Always go down a rabbit hole finding other things while you're talking. Amazing, Gord. Good stuff. Thank you so much. Billy, it's why I'm still here and love learning more and more about Sprout. So good, Billy. Thank you so much, and thank you for showing up. So thanks for being here. Let me quickly just point you guys in a couple other directions if you need any more guidance or help. These are just kind of good round out links that we want to share with you guys at the end of the webinars in case you have any other questions. GetSproutStudio.com/comparison if you want to learn more about how Sprout stacks up to some of the other competitors. GetSproutStudio.com/concierge if you're looking to switch over to Sprout and maybe don't know where to start or don't want to do the work yourself. We can do it for you. We have a great concierge program where we can do your migration from your old CRM into your new CRM in Sprout Studio. We have a tool called the Terminology Roadmap. If you're feeling lost in any of the terminology, the wording, if you're like, what is a lead? What is a booking proposal? I don't know what these things are. We have this glossary and this kind of translation guide that we've built for you to help get a good understanding of all those terms, what they mean, and also what you may be used to seeing them called. So on that page, you can actually pull up your old system, a competitor, and say, hey, what did they call it? And what does Sprout call it? And that way it's kind of like this translation guide from the old to the new for you. GetSproutStudio.com/timeline is a great place to go to if you want to see some of the new features that we've built for you over the last 18 months. SproutStudioSchool.com is our in-depth guided video course where we basically take topics well, everything in Sprout Studio and dissect them and dive into them, similar to how we did today with you in the webinar, all about Sprout Assistant. But it's a really great, thorough course that's not only going to teach you the ins and the outs of Sprout Studio, but also make space for you to set these things up along the way so that not only do you learn Sprout, but you get set up along the way as well. SproutStudioSupport.com is where you can find help docs, FAQs, videos, and a whole bunch of other resources to help you get going in Sprout Studio. And hey, if you haven't started a trial, why are you here watching an advanced webinar? I'm just kidding. Thank you for joining us. But if you haven't started a trial already, we would love to have you join us in a free trial. Come on over to GetSproutStudio.com. Start your free 21-day trial. No credit card required. No strings attached. We'd love to have you in there kicking the tires and seeing if it's a good fit for you. If you are in your trial right now and haven't taken the leap to become a part of the family officially as a Sprouter, click that subscribe button. We'd love to have you as a part of the family. And finally, if you have questions, if we can help you, guide you, serve you in any other way, we would love to do that. You can call us, you can email us, you can click the messenger icon right within Sprout Studio, or you can join our Facebook group. We'd love to engage with you and hang out over there. And hey, I have a last minute question coming in from Jennifer. You're the next question on the answer is right. I don't know. Jennifer saying, sorry, but if we decided to add a gallery to the one already booked or the shoots, how can we add the gallery to that client? Please explain the gallery type. Let me see if I can make sense of this. And Jennifer, tell me if I am answering the way that you are expecting, or if you have other questions, or if this is not maybe clear for you. Let me open up here. Let me open up Sprout. So basically, if I open over here, in the gallery. So these are all different kinds of emails that can go out for a specific gallery. So if I have these all turned on, I mean, this one I've got turned off by default. If I go into a shoot, I'll just go into any one of these shoots here. I'll go into this one. If I go into the gallery section here, if I now make a new gallery, it's the exact same thing. So basically, if I click in here, these defaults, I've got that one turned off by default. These will all pull automatically. So as I add new galleries to an existing shoot, it'll pull my defaults in based on what I've set up in Sprout Assistant. Now, if you have a gallery where these are all turned off because you didn't have Sprout Assistant turned on, that's where that toggle all or that enable all switch is going to be useful for you. If you go in here, if you're like, hey, I actually want to turn this on for everything because I didn't have it set up properly historically, click enable all, and it'll turn it on for all of your galleries historically. Let me know, Jennifer, if that answers your question. Otherwise, I'm happy to try and clarify or maybe point you in the right direction. Drew has just dropped the bombs over there with all of the links. Thank you, Drew. Thank you for posting those and sharing those. Folks, I think I'm going to wrap up here. Let me quickly share. Oh, hang on. I got another question coming in. Yes, I did. Thank you. Okay, amazing. Good stuff. Thank you, Jennifer. Let me go and share this here one last time. Again, if you have any questions, if we can guide, serve, or help you in any other way, we'd love to help you. We'd love to help unlock any of the roadblocks that you may have in getting going with Sprout Studio. Otherwise, well, Q&A is over, but thank you so much for joining the watering hole. Thank you for hanging out. Thank you for spending time today. Whether you're here live or whether you're watching the replay, appreciate you taking the time. That is it, folks. Thank you for hanging out, and we'll talk to you guys all later. Maybe we'll see you over on the Facebook group. Bye for now.